I have feet, I'm assuming you have feet, so let's talk about my favorite shoes for travel. Shoes are a little trickier to pack simply because they're a little bit bulkier than the other items that we're working with, and it's something I've always struggled with in the past, but recently I've narrowed it down and here are my top picks. A quick disclaimer before we start the video, none of these brands are sponsored, these are 100% our top picks, but we'll link everything below. Starting off strong with our number one rack is the classic Blundstone. Luke and I both have a pair of these and they've served us well on a lot of occasions over the past couple months. We got these in late June, I believe, and have worn them several times a week since. They do take a little bit of time to break in, so please make sure to do that before you go on your trip. I broke mine in by wearing them about 30 minutes a day for a couple weeks before our trip, and I had absolutely no problems and no blisters, which is very rare considering a shoe of this type. Luke didn't wear his quite as much prior to our trip and hadn't had them fully broken in by the time we needed to, so they were a little bit uncomfortable for him, but overall they weren't bad and he was still able to wear them for the entirety of our trip. These are a great all-weather boot. They are perfect for wet and cold conditions and keep your feet very, very warm. We've used them camping as well as super rainy and wet conditions. They have a really great sturdy rubber sole, so you're not going to slip and slide a lot unless you are actually on ice itself, which is at fault of the ice. Blundstones come in a variety of natural and neutral colors, so you're not going to find any fuchsias or purples in their line, but you do get your choices of blacks and browns, so you can find at least some sort of shade that works for you. The only difference between the men's and women's Blundstones are some slight differences in stitching and minor details, but overall they're exactly the same and Luke and I love them. My next pick is another fan favorite. It is the ever-loved camping classic, Chacos. I feel like Tevas also fall into this category as they're almost the exact same shoe with a few minor details, but in my experience, you're either a Chacos person or a Tevas person, and your whole personality is based dependent on that, obviously. While I've never personally owned Tevas, I've heard a lot of great reviews about them and done a ton of research myself. And Luke actually just ordered Teva slippers, so when those come in, we'll do a review on those too. I grew up going to summer camp, and the reason I have Chacos instead of Tevas is because Chacos were the cooler shoe to have at the time, and I wanted to be just like everyone else. Tevas are a little bit more foamy and do float. That being said, from personal experience, Chacos do not float in water. Both Chacos and Tevas offer a lot of versatility in the small details of making of their shoes. You can either have a toe loop, no toe loop, or even a flip-flop thong style if you so choose. I personally prefer a shoe without a toe loop on it because I can wear socks with it, and as someone who has previously owned Chacos with a toe loop, it just didn't really make sense for me and made it a lot harder to put on. That being said, these do require quite a bit of break-in time, and the straps actually rub quite a bit and can cause some pretty gnarly blisters, so please do not bring these brand new on your vacation. Switching gears, we have another new cult classic, the Allbirds. These are the first pair of shoes that Luke hasn't had to wear sole inserts with, and that's saying a lot given both of us put sole inserts in literally every single pair of shoes that we own. These have been to New York, and they have been through the streets of Brooklyn, and let me tell you, they're good. I'm not gonna do that. That was a mistake. One cool feature about these is that they're also machine washable, so if they do get super gnarly, you can easily toss them in and have them clean the next day. I know a lot of people have opinions about a classic white sneaker, but personally I believe you should just have a sneaker that matches your general closet color scheme. So for me, at this time, it's the Nike Blazers in off-white and black, and these Nike Air Maxes, which have teal, orange, and black details on them. These types of sneakers typically aren't for working out in the gym, but they're great for really long days on your feet and have a lower break-in time compared to other fashion sneakers. They're also easily customizable, as Blazers come in a million different colors as well as other Nike shoes. I've seen people wear them with pink, sage, other bright greens. Honestly, you can find anything that fits your style as long as the shoe fits. One thing I've found when finding fashion sneakers is that a lot of them tend to be too narrow for my feet, and my feet aren't that big, So that might be something to watch out for, because the last thing you want is to have really cute sneakers that are very uncomfortable to wear for long hours. Similar but different, next up we have Vans. Now, I am a tried and true Vans girl. I've had them forever and they will always be my go-to sneaker. This pair I got in 2019 and they've lasted me since and are still going strong. This pair I just got a couple of weeks ago and I'm very excited because they are platformed. Short girls, if you know, you know. Because Vans are a skate shoe, the soles tend to be a lot sturdier and last a lot longer. I have hiked through cities in Vans and have put probably 500 plus miles on one pair of shoes before they absolutely wrecked. Unfortunately, most of the Vans style lines don't have great arch support, so if you're going to wear these for long hours, please get yourself some sole inserts. They will save you so much pain and make your feet so much happier. I'll talk a little bit more about sole inserts later. My last and final sneaker pick is a brand called Naturalizers. While I unfortunately don't own a pair at this time, I have in the past and absolutely love them. Naturalizers for me are like Allbirds for Luke. Unfortunately, Naturalizers doesn't carry a men's shoe line at this time, but hopefully they will in the future because that would be great. Naturalizers were primarily designed for comfort first, aesthetic second, but since owning them, they've drastically increased their product line to include heels, boots, flats, pretty much anything you'd want to wear on your feet they have, and they're really cute too. While the majority of the Naturalizer sneaker line has a rounded toe very similar to this one, they also have a lot of shoes with boosted and pointier styles. Naturalizers come in so many different style options in terms of color and fabric pick, so you can get them in suede, cork, or anything else they have on their line at the time, so you can really customize it to your personal style, even within the same shape of shoe. Naturalizers also offers a wide variety of heel styles, which I find really valuable because I think a lot of other brands tend to niche down a little too much and fit exactly for one mold. So for someone like me who dresses a little more alternatively, I'm not going to find shoes at other brands. Even if I like the brand and the comfort level, it's just not going to work for my style. Speaking of heels, our last and final shoe is a brand called Pashions. If you haven't heard of Pashions, they're a super cool heel company that makes convertible heels, so you can literally twist off the heel and turn it into a flat. So it's really great if you're trying to save room in your suitcase or honestly just don't want to own that many pairs of shoes. But I would personally use them for having a long day of walking, but also a fancy event, so I'd wear the flats throughout the day and then pop on the heel at night. They come in a variety of different styles and colors, but unfortunately none of them are things I would actually wear for myself at this time. That being said, I'm super picky, so there's tons of options for you guys. They have lots of neutrals as well as bright colors, so you can really find something that works for you. You guys are probably wondering, Claire, what shoes did not make this list? Let me tell you. We have two pairs that I absolutely love that I do not travel with, and here's why. That first pair of shoes is Doc Martens. I love my Doc Martens. They're probably the favorite shoe that I have in my closet. These are bulky, and they are heavy, and they are not functional to carry while traveling whatsoever. While admittedly, the style of Doc that I have is a lot bigger than other people, my sentiment still follows on. Now, what sets Doc Martens apart from other boots like Blundstones is that these are way more of a fashion shoe than a utility shoe for most people. Some people might go hiking in their Doc Martens, and if that's you, by all means, bring your Doc Martens. But for me, these are just too chunky to do anything like that with, so these are going to be my winner. Our second honorable mention is Birkenstocks. Luke and I love Birkenstocks. Obviously, we own several pairs, but they're not something I'm typically going to pack unless I'm specifically going to the beach or something where I have a ton of downtime. A lot of the time when we travel, we don't have that luxury, and if we do, I'm typically going to be bringing my Chacos and just put them on with socks instead, and there's not really a use of bringing two pairs of shoes when one can serve the utility of both. That being said, I wear my Birkenstocks every single day. I absolutely love the brand, but they're much more of an at-home shoe for me. Now, circling back to sole inserts, these have saved my life more times than I can count, and like I said, I put them in every single pair of shoes I own, with very, very few exceptions. As someone who grew up dancing and also spends 12 plus hour shifts on my feet, I feel like I have a pretty strong and solid opinion on this. My personal favorite insole brand is Dr. Scholl's. I've tried quite a few of brands over the past, but these are just the most foamy and most flexible. I find the ones with plastic on the bottom tend to crack and wear out a lot faster. Lastly, when packing shoes, make sure you wear your chunkiest and biggest ones on your travel days. Those tend to be really long, so comfort is super important here. Luke and I typically wear Blundstones on travel days, but if you wanted to, you could wear your Docs.